Hi, welcome to your financial education class. My name is Leo, and my goal is to hopefully provide you with a little more financial literacy because, as we know, schools and the world does not prepare us for these big things. And a lot of time we kind of enter it guessing and not really knowing what's going on. So, I'm here to give you some of my advice and some tips that I'd gone through throughout the journey of getting all these big financial fun ships. Today we're going to talk about credit cards, specifically, hopefully, your first credit card. Whether if you have one or you're looking to get one, I'm hoping to give you some general tips, just some rules, because it's pretty unclear on how these things work. So hopefully I can give you some advice coming from my perspective, what I had gone through, and just so that you feel a little better prepared when you're getting your first one. So to start, a credit card in its most simple form is just a loan. You get something today, you get the option to buy something today, and then you pay it back in like a month or two. That's pretty much how all loans work, and your credit card is just like a piece of plastic that allows you to do that. There are some different rules, and for you to fully understand, I want to break down your credit score. So, your credit score is not only your credit card, but it's going to mostly be that, especially if you're just starting out. So, there's 5 different categories that will build your credit score, and we'll go through each one individually. If you respect the rules, your 5 big rules, you will easily get a very good credit score and you'll be very safe with your credit card. So, to start, first big rule is you pay your card. Of course, if you owe someone money, you pay them back, and it's the same thing. If you take out a loan, you want to pay that back, and if you don't, you're going to have to pay more, and people won't loan you money, realistically. So, that's a big rule. You want to pay that in full. You might see something called a minimum payment. A minimum payment is realistically just kind of like a scam or a trick that banks use to try and get something out of you. Because if you're looking to not pay your bill in full, they'd rather get like a $10, $20 than nothing at all, right? So, minimum payment does not mean that's what you have to pay. You have to pay everything. So, if you buy it, you have to pay it back. The second big one is how much you use. So when you first apply for your credit card, you're going to get the option of different amounts, maybe like $500, $1,000, and that's how much you have access to. The way that the banks are going to see it is if you use everything you have every month, they consider that as risky. And it sounds kind of weird, but they don't want you to use too much. If you see it from their perspective, if you get access to a ton of money and you only use a little bit every month, it looks good. If you get access to a ton of money and it kind of looks like you're struggling to pay it back every month and you're constantly maxing out as much as you can, it's a little risky. So, this again, everything when it comes to credit score is about risk and calculating how risky you are as a person. And if you have a high score, you have very calculated risk, and it gives you options to get better plans and deals and things like that. The next two categories to your credit score are very similar. It's how many loans you have open and how much are you applying for new loans. So, how many loans you have open, this is where your credit score is more than just your credit card. This will include like your phone bill, if you have car payments, if you have a mortgage payment, these all come together. And the more you have, the way that they see it is you're riskier, right? If you owe 4, 5, 6 people money, trying to ask another person for money is going to look risky versus if you just have one. Now, if you're getting your first credit card, you don't need to worry. This is going to be your first, it's going to be your start. So that's fine. Something you do need to remember is that every time you apply for a new loan, it will lower your score. So even if you're applying for new cards or if you're applying for a car, for example, just the application, not if you don't even get the car, let's say, just the application will lower your score. So every time you apply, be calculated because you're going to go down a bit, and hopefully what you're applying for will help you in the future, so it's worth kind of that risk, that hit that you're going to take. The last thing is your credit history, so how long you've had a credit card for. This, personally, I just ignore. To get the most points in this category, it needs to be open for 20 years. So, look, I have a very good score. I'm above 800, and I definitely do not have a credit card. I haven't had a credit card for 20 years. I've maybe had it for like 3. And you can still get a lot of points. You can still get very good score without worrying too much about this. One thing I will recommend, though, is If you have older cards and you're looking to start closing some accounts to try and limit how much you have open, try and keep your original one. Your original one will be your oldest one, and they just look at when you started. What's the oldest card? Even if you're not using it or anything, it will still add to your credit history. So you can just kind of let that one sit, and even if you don't use it, it's going to stay there and it's going to be worth it. And that's a little trick that I am personally using to keep my credit score long, because I've opened newer credit cards recently with a lot higher limits, but they're recent, right? So it's not as old, the history is not as long. So I keep those original ones. I don't even use them. They just sit. My limit is super low and doesn't matter. It does nothing, right? It's just for the length. And that's your big five. So paying your card in full, how much you have and how much are you using, new loans and how often are you applying for them, how many total do you have, and finally, how long have you had your credit open for. So if you're just starting today, I'd recommend when you go to the bank and you're going to apply for your credit card, or if you're going to do it online, you want to try and get a decent amount of credit, enough that you feel comfortable. I'd say $1,000 tends to be a decent start. You're not going to feel too stressed out with access to that much money. And hopefully you're not spending that much every month. Again, a trick that I had used when you don't have as much credit available and you're still trying to respect that 10% rule is to just put one reoccurring bill. When I had started, I had a limit of $500. And the only thing that would go on my credit card is my phone bill. And that's it. That boosted my score like crazy, even with such a small limit, because I'm respecting all the rules. It's being paid in full. I am using very little of my credit and still paying it off. I'm not applying for new cards. I'm not opening new accounts. I don't have multiple accounts. And the credit history, like I said, I just ignored it. It really didn't matter if 20 years was the only thing. It's completely out of control. So if you're looking to start, that was my initial step that had helped me a lot. Again, you want to do what you feel comfortable with, and then you want to just use 10% or less. And if you don't spend that much, or if you spend a lot and you don't know how you're going to hit that 10%, what I had done is you just put one reoccurring bill, you put like your insurance or you put your phone plan, and everything else you spend on debit. If you can't afford it, maybe you shouldn't be buying it. Again, you can make that decision. As long as you respect the rules, they're going to give you very good points. The sad thing is these rules are so hard to find, which is part of the reason why I make content like this. So hopefully you feel better today, you understand a little more. And if you're going to go get that credit card today, congratulations. Take it slow, watch some more videos, really understand what you're doing, and you really don't need to spend that much. Just make sure you pay it off and you'll be completely fine. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day.